What's up, everybody? We're on a podcast now. I'm Alex. This video, I want to talk about the Batman movie. We've made a couple videos on this movie in the past couple weeks, and they've been received very, very well by you guys. Now, for this video, it is a little bit more of a depressing, a little bit worse kind of video. The Batman movie production put on a 2-week hold by Warner Bros. So this was a few days ago. Obviously, I'm a little late to the party, if you even want to call it that. But due to that thing going around the world that I just will continue to not say because YouTube is very unpredictable with what they allow and what they don't allow, picking which videos and which channels they allow to even say the word in general. So obviously we still have to use keywords, we still have to use just not saying the word in general when talking about it. But the production was actually moved. It was from London, then it was moved to Liverpool in the UK, which they said it was in the safety region, so it wouldn't, they were doing this kind of just out of extra safety, that they didn't necessarily have to, but they did. So it was only put on a 2-week hiatus. This article from Deadline actually goes into talking about other Warner Bros. Movies, including Fantastic Beasts, which was scheduled to start shooting next week, which that was, I believe, on Friday, so maybe that actually means it was supposed to shoot this week. We're seeing a lot of movies shut down. We're seeing a lot of movie studios just say, hey, we're not going to be filming, we're not going to be doing any of this stuff during this time. It sucks because, and again, I like to remain optimistic. I like to talk about these kind of things in general, and when we're seeing all of these movies, primarily movies and TV shows, get pushed or delayed now, it sucks. It's like the first wave of things that we really don't want to see, right? Obviously, and I've gone on record saying with Fast and Furious, that's a huge blow. That's a huge, huge blow to me. We saw James Bond move, obviously, a whole lot earlier than that, but we're seeing a Quiet Place got removed, and eventually it'll just randomly release at this point. Wonder Woman has not moved yet as of the time I'm recording this. Black Widow, I still believe hasn't moved yet, although with all of the different rules and restrictions being put in, it seems like movie theaters, most of them probably won't even be open. Secondly, they wouldn't be able to fill to capacity, so it doesn't really seem like Black Widow is going to stay there. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see when this thing starts to fall down, and then if the decisions from the higher ups leads to some of these things being removed, where you can say, okay, well, movie theaters are open, you can go see this, and you can fill your theaters to however many. I mean, we could start to see that very soon, honestly. I mean, it's only a matter of a couple days or a couple weeks that a lot of these things can start to turn around. But in regards to the Batman, see, this is a movie with, and a lot of these movies, by the way, you're seeing a lot of the halts of production, which suck because, again, so far we've only been talking about movies that are coming out like over the next couple months, and obviously they're delayed, which is going to move them into other slots, which is going to delay those movies, right? So I mean, Fast 9 got moved to next year in April, which moves Fast 10 an entire year as well. Okay, so now those two movies have been moved a year. If Black Widow gets moved, does it get moved close to the Eternals, and then does the Eternals get shifted to 2021? And then how does that affect Thor? How does that affect Doctor Strange? How does that affect all of these movies, right? Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is another good example as well. I mean, that movie is supposed to start filming in the summer. Does that still happen? I feel like it will. But for movies that are filming now, TV shows that are filming now, it sucks because you're going to see not only movies and all these things that are getting pushed now, and they are, but you're also going to start to see movies in the future get pushed now. The question is, and that's the central point of this video, is will this Batman movie be delayed? I don't know. I feel like it may just lead to, people don't like this, especially in the gaming industry, maybe in the movie industry it's not as like looked down upon, is crunch. I mean, basically, I've seen movies be filmed closer to when they're supposed to release than this. So even if these things get delayed a few weeks, even a few months, what it ultimately would do is, if you still want to have the movie come out when it's supposed to come out, or when they set it, it just results in a smaller editing time, like the post-production time, which is very, very important. It's kind of like make or break. At the same time, if you don't have the materials recorded that you need, that's also, I could argue, or you could argue, that any part of a movie-making process is make or break, but definitely post-production is insanely, insanely important, and it would just seem like if you want, this is just natural, this is just obvious, if you want these things to still come out, but the filming is delayed, well, well, then it's just the post-production that you really need to just throw everything you got into it. Now, what could end up happening, though, is because everybody is self-quarantine and all this kind of stuff, everybody's staying at home, when all this stuff gets lifted, there could be like a renewed energy to do things. In fact, as a human society, I feel like that's just generally how it is. If you're told to stay inside, you're told not to go anywhere, once that restriction is lifted, what are you going to do? You're probably going to do all the things that you couldn't do, and you'll probably do it more than you ever have because now you have that freedom again, right? Now, again, that's just like a human thing. That's like you. If you want to go on a vacation, if you were supposed to go on a vacation, and now you're told to stay inside, what are you going to do when you're not told to stay inside? You're probably going to go on that vacation, but maybe you'd make it longer. Now, again, like, there's a lot of variables in there, right? Can you actually afford to still go on that vacation? That's kind of stuff. But from like a movie industry or even like a job point of view, you really want to make this Batman movie, right? Everybody there is very into making they want to make the best product possible. They want this movie to just be an absolute, masterpiece in their own way. And so what are you going to do if you can't work on it for a little bit? You're going to work on it probably harder, right? You're going to owe it to the people, not necessarily because we're all in this fight together, but you'll probably want to work on it a little bit harder, a little bit more, stuff like that. So do I feel, and also I didn't know because the headlines that I was seeing around this before I actually clicked on them was just that it was halting production. I didn't see anywhere that it was only for 2 weeks, and when you actually read the article, it says 2 weeks. Now, again, things are so fastly moving, and it depends also on where because these film companies, obviously in America, we're starting to see, this thing get more and more real and people, freak out more and more. But all these film companies, all these shoots going on, they're all over the world. And so specifically for this, being in London or just being in the UK in general, it depends on that situation as well. You have to monitor that situation. Or can you do it just in a studio lot instead? And these things, again, they can move. We could hit a peak at the end of this week. It could start to go down starting next week. But you don't know, and maybe that's just for the U.S. and different countries have different times that they can kind of predict, right? So it is difficult to say. I feel like with only a 2-week delay, if they do start filming right again, if they finish it when that delay is over, I mean, I don't really think it would get the movie itself. I really don't think it would get pushed back at all. I truly don't. I don't feel like a delay that small is going to do it. You see movies all the time where people get injured during it, or and they have to kind of halt production or film something else. And they still end up coming out on time, even if it's like their lead star. Sometimes things like that can result in it being pushed back, but even situations like that, they tend to make it work. They just film other things. Now, again, for an example like this, if you're going to halt production in general, you can't film just other scenes. Like, Robert Pattinson's sick today, so we're just going to film, the other crew, the other cast. We'll just film all their scenes, and then, 2 days, we'll film all of his. It doesn't exactly work like that. In different situations, it would, but in obviously this situation, it doesn't. But I really don't think a 2-week period is going to affect it much. And even if it does it delay it? I mean, the problem is I don't necessarily think a 2-week delay means a 2-week delay of the movie. You know what I mean? If you halt production for a month, does that mean that the movie gets delayed for a month? Well, I don't think it's that easy. And for a movie like The Batman, I feel like, and also I don't necessarily know too much about it in terms of does the cast and crew have other things they need to do. One example of a movie franchise or a movie that could be in serious trouble is like Uncharted, because they were supposed to film Uncharted this week, next week, very, very soon. And the reason they were supposed to film so soon is because Tom Holland is going to be filming Spider-Man 3 this summer. So they need to get Uncharted done before that so that his, it doesn't conflict with his schedule. So that's a tough one, because if they delay the Uncharted film, production, then how does that affect Spider-Man? Does he just say, well, I have to do Spider-Man, so you do that, so then does Uncharted then get delayed another full year because you can't wait that long? Stuff like that. See, that's a different example. That's kind of a much more extreme example because one thing directly impacts the other. But again, for this movie, I mean, this is already in production. This is already going, so it is kind of the center stage. It's what everybody is working on, right? So even if they do have other obligations after it, the only thing it's going to affect is those other obligations. It's not going to affect this movie specifically. So I hope not. Again, it's a scary time, obviously, for a lot of people. A lot of people are worried. I'm personally not. I'm keeping very calm and cool. But a lot of people are very, very scared. In terms of the entertainment industry, if we want to take it a little bit, easier, we want to talk about a little, things closer to home with things that are more fun, things that kind of give us escapes already from the real world, right? Games, movies, TV shows, stuff like that. It is impacting it because, again, movies and stuff that we're seeing get pushed now, though that sucks because, again, all these restrictions to movie theaters. But then what also sucks is, well, what about the movies that are still going on, that are actually doing things right now? Those people are going to be sent home. Those people aren't going to be allowed to work on it. And then all of those things that are supposed to come a year, 2 years down the line, does this affect pre-production for certain movies that could be like 2 years down the line? It very well could. And then those things, they have ripple effects, and that definitely sucks. So this is something that's affecting us now, and it's going to be something that I think affects, again, the gaming, movie industry, stuff like that. It's going to affect it for a couple years as well. Hopefully not all that much. Hopefully it's just like a month delay, and a month delay is not the biggest deal in the world. And again, at the end of the day, it's kind of best case scenario for what's been a pretty terrible couple of weeks for the world. So, at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing that could possibly happen. At least these things aren't getting flat out canceled, stuff like that. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think this 2-week delay is going to affect the Batman movie? Do you think that the movie itself will be delayed because of it? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And I'll continue to cover the Batman movie as well as the games as well. I've had a lot of fun recording these videos for all of the Warner Bros. Properties, and I'm really glad that you guys have liked them as well. Okay, so stay safe. Everybody stay cool and calm. Be prepared. Be ready for anything. This all will blow over at some point. I have zero doubts about it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.